about positive behavior supports. I had a phone conversation with somebody, a mom, just this morning about how important it is that we have this written into our BIPs, that this is the way that we approach things. Okay, so let's take a look at what our actual definition for positive behavior supports is. It's the broad enterprise of helping people develop and engage in adaptive, socially desirable behaviors and overcome patterns of destructive and stigmatizing responding. All right. What? Let's take a look at what the working definition for this is. Changing challenging behavior by making challenging behaviors less rewarding and desirable behaviors more rewarding. So this is one of the phrases that you'll hear in schools. They'll say, well, we're putting positive behavioral supports in place. I know you look at it and you go, that sounds a lot like applied behavior analysis. Yes, it does. But this is maybe a way of jargoning it. Many times you guys ask us, well, the school doesn't, they don't do ABA, and like, how can I get it into the IEP? This is one more way that you can say that we're using positive behavior supports. Now, what's the flip of this is that a lot of times you'll see in school settings that they are very driven by the old school punishment, that they want to punish people into behaving properly. Now, you and I know that that doesn't work, but sometimes it's news to other people. And by the way, you and I know that it works, but we still challenge it ourselves as well, right? Because we've all been raised to think if somebody does something, well, we need to punish them. Our society is driven that way. Our education system is driven that way. We've all been brought into that system. We know that it's more effective if we do positive behavioral supports. And I really want to encourage everybody that when you have BIP, which is a behavioral intervention plan that goes with your IEP, that we write in there some sort of a sentence, we get them to include in it that this student responds to positive behavioral supports, and that is the way that we will address things. You don't have to say to them, but punishment strategies don't work. Perfect example, the phone conversation that I was having this morning was a mom who was very upset because her child had done 2 lengthy pieces of work that were very difficult for them, turned them in, and they did not get credit because the teacher said it was late and that they had already told the student, you have to get this in, you have to get this in. And the teacher said to the mom, because we need to teach him responsibility. Okay. Well, I get it. I understand what that teacher thinks is happening. And yes, responsibility is a great thing, but that's number 45 on the list of things to do. First and foremost, we want to make it that they are excited to learn and stop and consider, what are we teaching this child? If we say, well, you did all that work, but you didn't do it in time, so you get no credit whatsoever, what is the likelihood that that child will do extra credit ever again? Child who's on the autism spectrum. Unlikely, right? But I was saying if you have it written into the IEP that only positive reward strategies will be used for interventions for behavior, then you can go back and say you can't, that's a punishment strategy. It's a ridiculous one, and it's not going to be effective. And besides which, it's in our IEP, it's in the behavior intervention plan that you need to use positive behavior supports.